I have the great pleasure to introduce our graduation speaker. And it starts actually way back in the winter time when I start collecting names and ideas for who might be the right voice to connect to our graduates in the spring. I've tended away from people who work directly in our fields, and instead I've looked for people who can help us see the places that we're connected to, where our work could go, what is meaningful about what North Bennett offers to other people's efforts. I first met Klare Shaw through her work at the Liberty Mutual Foundation. She was serving as the National Director of Programs for their corporate giving. And in this, she was reaching to assist nonprofits doing work locally in Boston, all the way to Seattle, and parts in between. But it was really her work as the board chair of the Urban Farming Institute here in Mattapan that captured my attention and made me more curious. Because here was a person who was managing a foundation team that was granting over $40 million in contributions across the country, and yet she was still digging in deep to her leadership to help a small historic farm in Boston establish itself as a site of learning, growing, producing food, and supporting neighbors. This was someone with truly national reach, influence, and she was making sure that she was investing in the local of the earth efforts, skilled efforts. I wanted to know more, and it was pretty easy to learn more. Klare's name came up as I found all of the ways that intersect community advocacy, philanthropy, social justice, education, historic preservation. It seemed like Klare's work was touching every circle. Her experience has been built from leadership roles across public, private, and corporate philanthropy, from early days at the State Arts Council, which is now the Mass Cultural Council, to becoming the executive director of the Bank of New England Foundation and the Boston Globe Foundation. She developed a focus in the arts and K-12 education through her work at the Barr Foundation and at EdVestors, where she helped to advance arts learning for thousands of Boston public school students. She partnered with the city and with educational and nonprofit organizations, always finding ways to center and intersect youth, Black, Indigenous, and communities of color, art, and culture. And when I met her, farming as a form of social and community empowerment. It was exciting to me to see these powerful intersections of her leadership, agency, advocacy, and heart for Boston and far, far beyond, from the neighborhood truly to the nation. It reminded me of how many forms good, meaningful work can take when you give it time and talent, and when you work at what's right at hand, even as you want to work to reach further. So Klare, thank you so much for all you've done. Thank you for being with us today. Welcome.
Thank you, Sarah. Your leadership here has continued to propel North Bennett Street School's recognition as one of Boston's preeminent institutions. I think you'll all agree. That students show that's up is humbling. It's so amazing. So this is a very special place to produce that level of work. Thank you to Jeannie and other members of the NBSS board and other school supporters who are present. It's very moving to be surrounded by you, the 90-plus graduates from the 9 career training programs, your spouses, partners, friends, and families. I know you'll join me in thanking the faculty and staff of the school who send you into the world armed with exceptional skills and enthusiasm. Finally, let's express appreciation to the graduates. I'm sure it's not been an easy road, and I don't doubt that there were even times, just between you and me, you can fess up, when you probably wanted to stop your training or maybe take a different path, but all of you persisted, and here you are today. So congratulations. In many ways, I'm an unusual speaker for your commencement. I'm not a professor, a public intellectual, an artist, or a politician. But I am a second-generation Bostonian. I was born in Roxbury. And through a lifelong career in philanthropy and a commitment to building community, I've left fingerprints in many places throughout the city, even here. On about 10 occasions, I've had the opportunity to be connected with the school. Many times as your program officer who assessed NBSS for funding, then other times as a community member who was a beneficiary of the skills from your piano technology programs. Once I was a consumer, purchasing a beautiful ring at a benefit from one of your jewelry making students. And I connected twice as a member of an educational working group that forged connections with the Boston Public Schools through piano technology and locksmithing and security. That was with Madison Park, and piano technology is through the Arts Expansion Initiative. And occasionally, I even functioned as a sounding board when NBSS was working on its plan for diversity, equity, and inclusion, trying to push forward to meet the changes needed for the social justice moment that America required. NBSS is even connected with an urban agricultural organization I help govern, which Sarah mentioned, the Urban Farming Institute of Boston. We live in a world that is increasingly interconnected, where a faculty member from your school works on jewelry that appears at an exhibit that you can see as you visit the MFA. Or a member of the piano technology program repairs an instrument in the 12th Baptist Church that my grandfather attended. That connection gives us an incredible opportunity for lasting impact and the opportunity to be of service. I've had an unusual spring. It was a spring where I attended a record number of graduations, but also funerals. My mom passed recently. It's made me a little reflective and pensive, but it's also made me think about legacy. Being present at these events has really made me think about and consider what for many people are the bookends of life. Commencements, which are the recognition of your formal skill building, where graduates is viewed as having the training and intellectual prowess to enter the world of work or advanced studies. It is your launching pad, whether it is a graduation from high school, college, MBSS, or medical school. It acknowledges the beginning of your professional career. And the other end of the path is your funeral, which is a time when people gather to assess your life, enumerate your contributions, and attest to your character. What I would like to speak to you about is that space in between. That space is where you fill the time with the skills, your time, talent, and treasure to define yourself and craft your legacy. I would suggest that NBSS prepares you to develop your legacy by fostering 3 critical ingredients: creativity, inclusion, and service. The first ingredient is creativity. It's evident in the coursework and the skills imparted here. It's in the preservation carpentry program where you are adapting ancient techniques to solve modern problems. Creativity is shown in alluring work made in courses such as cabinet and furniture making and jewelry making and repair. But it also shows up in particularly elegant solutions devised in bookbinding, violin making, and repair or carpentry. Your education at NBSS allows you to use your passion and abilities to produce innovative solutions that beautify and uplift. I've learned of students using advanced technologies to mirror hand-hewn details. Imagine using your 21st century skills to reproduce the appearance of work from past eras. Fortunately, these innovative approaches multiply. And to quote Maya Angelou, you cannot use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. How you utilize that creativity helps frame your legacy. The second ingredient is inclusion, which NBSS projects by its very existence. Unlike some other schools, you have students here who are both traditional and non-traditional, with representation from a wide variety of ages, professions, life experiences, and origins. Sarah's spoken about some of that. I saw the word today from a student who was a retired surgeon, a recent high school graduate, and a U.S. military veteran. This meshing is furthered by your PB&J Wednesdays, where you get to mingle over lunch with people you might never have met outside of these walls. Here, it is just assumed that one will be learning with someone who has a different perspective. You may be creating beside someone who did not converse in English as their native language, or someone who is LGBTQ. Learning to form a community with such a diverse group of people is key for your future success. It exposes you to new ways of being and prepares you to emphasize and empathize and to engage with our increasingly varied world that is so influenced by culture, technology, and media. How you embrace that inclusion and bring the real widens your lens and helps add to your legacy. The final ingredient is service. The history of service runs deep in this institution. I saw the exhibit on the walls, and it's extraordinary. So as you know, founded in 1881 as a settlement house that was begun to help immigrants and those who lacked resources, the origins have just evolved and evolved, and now the school's become the dynamo that it is at present. Offering 9 career training programs, over 15 community education classes and partnerships, got a store, exhibitions, public programming, community meetings, and more. During this 143-year-old evolution as a professional craft school, the tradition of service has remained intact. You've got 3,500 alumni living in every United States and 23 countries. They preceded you in making strong community ties and using their artistry to improve society. You can carry forward that practice and use your skills in impactful ways, adding another ingredient to your legacy. How you serve others helps define your success and adds fulfillment and balance to your life. I've already referenced the piano tuning program where students tune and repair pianos for aspiring young musicians in the Boston Public Schools. But the school also has extraordinary individuals, such as the recent graduate who I'm told gained new training specifically to travel and provide security and safety to a community in another part of the country, transplanting knowledge from Boston elsewhere. The depth of talent in that student exemplifies so much of what you gain and what you give at North Bennett Street School. May you continue to use your skills for creativity, inclusion, and service, and contribute solutions that will distinguish your legacy and benefit our world. Congratulations.